Shine Kelly is a visionary and CEO of Unite, which is a platform to elevate personal and planetary well-being. An uplifting community connection and content platform, an eco-wellness marketplace. So Lisa spoke about reaching out and connecting, and I believe that's one beautiful platform to reach out to people and to connect. So welcome, Shine. Pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks so much. And thanks so much, everyone, for being here. It's so fun. Yeah, I'm really excited. So the topic that I wanted to share on is on the receiving mode. And I want to give credit to Abraham Hicks. That's their phrase. And for me, what it means is exactly what Lisa was just saying when she was lying on the carpet and she was studying that the sort of threads, and in that moment of kind of giving up, there was this voice, and it just kind of came in, and like, where did that come from? And I told her to get up and keep going. And for me, my life has been really guided by a lot of blessings. I mean, I grew up in a family with a lot of abundance and freedom, and my parents were really loving and never looked at my report cards and always gave me whatever sort of I wanted to focus on, and really supported me in my life. And so I grew up with a lot of abundance of freedom and time and money and just things, so I could really focus on where I wanted to be. And it was just such a fun thing. Like I remember making a decision in when I was like 16 or something. And sorry, my phone was on there. I remember making a decision when I was out of school, I guess 18 or 19, and the thought of money hadn't really crossed my mind. So I didn't sort of grow up with this regular kind of experience that a lot of people go through, where it's like, oh, there's not enough money and there's not enough this. I was really blessed. And so it kind of gave me this opportunity to sort of enter adulthood from a different perspective, where I just felt like I could be or do or have anything, because I really grew up with that. And so as I moved through life, I really dreamed big, and I just thought, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? And it was just this fun feeling of being free to do whatever I wanted. And my first dream was playing hockey, and I thought that's what I wanted. And I went as far as I could in that direction. And then at a certain point, I sort of found this music. And I say found because I was just inspired to go in these different directions. I was laying in my bed one night, and I just saw this mountainscape, and I was like, okay, and I just felt like I needed to go there. And I think I was still living at home, but I was just out of high school, and I had a car, and I could and a little bit of money, and so I could go and do whatever I wanted to do. And so I just kind of told my mom, and she said, oh, well, when I was young, I moved to Jasper, Alberta, which is this beautiful mountain city in Canada. And so I said, oh, interesting. So I looked it up online and found someone with a house and went there. And this woman, Wendy, she was in her 50s probably then, and I was 20 maybe. She became my first kind of spiritual mentor. And she was this amazing being, and just really sort of felt like it was part of my opening and awareness. And on that journey, I just started to receive music. And I was just inundated for the next 5 years, pretty much. Whenever I was in a good feeling place, when I would go for a walk or whatever I would do, I would just receive this music, and it was these beautiful songs, and I would like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And I was learning about how to sing, and I just loved it. I loved singing since I was little. I would always sing to the radio. And my first girlfriend, when I was like 16, said, oh, don't do that. That doesn't sound very good. So I wasn't a good singer, always, but I just taught myself to sing, and I started receiving this music, and it was so fun. And so what happened then was this really interesting thing where I moved from a place of feeling so free and abundant and like I could do anything. And for some reason, I decided that my life now had to be about music. And so I said, no more anything else. I'm only going to play music. I'm only going to focus on music. And I had always had this just flow of abundance from unexpected places where I was like, okay, someone just like, I needed money and someone just, I feel like giving you some money. And like, it would just happen. I was like, oh, this is great. And I was just flowing. And then I said, no, I'm not doing anything else. I'm not taking any other jobs. I have to make a living only making music. And I'm not going to do anything other than that. And that moment, and I remember it. I remember like I think I was living in Victoria, BC. And I remember the kind of state of being I was in. And in that moment, for the next years, I'm not sure how long, few years, I was broke. I had no money. And it was the first time in my life where I felt like, whoa, like, can I buy this food? Like, it was intense. It was wild. And I had never really experienced it because I grew up with just, and not like crazy amounts, but just always enough. And I was a little pushy and kind of, poked my parents until they gave me what I wanted. And they were willing participants and gave it up. And so I was like, oh man, this sucks. I have no money. And I'm not even really making it as a musician. I just felt for the first time in this turmoil, in this weird place. And my mom had introduced me to this teacher called Abraham Hicks. And they talk about the receiving mode and they talk about alignment and getting in the vortex. And so I started listening to them like a lot. And through this process, something that happened a little bit earlier was that my father passed away when I was 15. He got diagnosed with cancer. They told him he had 3 months to live. He lived for 3 more years. And my mom, through that process, had a hard time, obviously. And when he passed away, she kind of fell into this depression and really sad place, as you would. And I moved home from Jasper actually to sort of be with her, and there was moments where she was just not really wanting to be here, not having a good time, and I, she says that I helped her sort of choose to keep going, and she's amazing and alive and doing really great, and so there was this relationship, and gosh, I forget why I was sharing that, but I guess I learned that.
You're going to say about the losing the receiving mode and discovering Abraham Hicks and sort of coming back to, I guess, the
right.
The receiving mode from the musician phase.
That's so helpful. So when my dad died, in the following years, my mom began to actually, the way that she got out of her depression was finding this process called The Journey, and it's by Brandon Bays, and it's amazing. And she went through the practitioner program, and she brought us through. When you find something that works for you, you're like, oh, everyone, it needs to do this now. So I went through the program and learned about it, and my mom sort of shared with me, and I took on this belief that if my dad had done the inner work and had cleaned up his past stuff, the journey is all about going into the past and cleaning up early memories, even like in the womb or even in past lives. And so I sort of, and then she said, if she would have had this work, then she might not have gotten depressed. So I sort of started to feel like if I didn't do the inner work, if I didn't clean everything up, if I didn't fix myself, then I was going to end up dead or depressed. And so I really had this like drive from inside to like fix my life and get shit done. And I'm a very motivated, focused person. And I'm also very efficiency minded. I'm a Virgo. I like to what's the best way to sweep this floor? And I just like figuring things out and finding efficiencies. And so I just kind of was like, okay, I'm going to fix my life. I'm going to clear everything and get to the root cause of all my shit and just go hard. And so I did that for years. I really did I feel like I'm one of the guinea pigs who's probably done the most of this of anyone in the world. And I don't say that proudly. It's kind of funny, silly. But I just went hard at trying to like fix and clear and clean up and past life regressions and going into every memory of every childhood trauma or everything and just trying to like fix my life and clear out everything. And at certain points I would listen to Abraham and they would say, you know, when you do that, there's a never-ending hole, because the more you focus on that, the more you attract to clean up. And even if you get through all your past lives and all this life, you'll just create more to clear. And so I was in this state of constant clearing, and it just felt like if I could just get to the bottom of this, if I could just finish this, if I could just like clear everything, then I'm free. Then I can be free. And I just had, and I had such a drive from this belief of that I was going to end up, you know, dead or broke or whatever. So finally, I go and actually see Abraham live in person, and we went on this beautiful and my life is like pretty good. You know, I'm like, I met this amazing woman. We're living in a beautiful place. We had just bought our Tesla. So like life is good. We're not like struggling crazy, but it's a fight. It's like, it's a lot. It's a constant kind of feels like it's up and down and intense and not sustainable. And so we go on this cruise. It was in September 2019. We go on this cruise, and we're with Abraham, and I go up on stage and we chat, and the time away, it was 12 days. We went to Barcelona and Italy and Rome and all these places, and that 12 days away and just having nothing business wise, nothing of the home, and just being on vacation and being relaxed, which I hadn't done in 10 years probably. That time really just gave me the space to like fully drop into just relaxing and just enjoying, because I was so driven and I had this big vision for a big company, and we'd started and we were doing our thing and making a living as entrepreneurs, but it was like on all the time. It was really intense. And feel free to cut me off, Alex. I know I'm kind of going on, so let me know my timing. And so this time really just allowed me to settle into myself and just feel like, and I started to allow myself, because previously I would wake up and just start finding things to clear. And so I was always in this mode, and I just didn't relax a lot. And so I finally let myself just like, and I started to receive. And it was so nice and so relaxing. And it was like, oh, I remember sitting on the deck, and it was like, and just meditating and chilling. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, wow, I'm enough. Oh, I love myself. And I'm not thinking these thoughts. It's like this beautiful stream of loving affirmations. And I'm like, all is well. And it was so relieving. It was so relaxing. And it was actually that the next time because there was 5 sessions with Abraham, and it was the next session that I was called up on stage, and they kind of, only call people when they're kind of ready to hear and when it's going to benefit other people. And so it was this lovely, such a relief. And again, like Lisa was saying, it took 2 years to really like get it, and to stop this constant like pushing and focusing and clearing and trying to fix stuff. And there was so much momentum and so much patterning and belief that somehow I had to get to the bottom of it. And in the last months, what's been really lovely is I've been experiencing this shift from this belief that I need to clear everything and get rid of it and fix it, to I need to relax and meditate and take time for me and just be at ease. And then receive loving thoughts, and then receive inspiration for action, and then just do that as long as it feels good, and then come back and just kind of be in that flow. And what's been really interesting is that when I'm at my peak state of highest alignment and excitement and just feeling clear and clean, sometimes I'll receive an image or a thought that has to do with a thing that feels really bad or that has felt bad in the past. And it's an odd pairing because I'm literally like blissing out with the universe, just feeling so good. And then I receive this flash of like a traumatic event or something serious that happened. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And then I recently heard Abraham talking about that happens to Esther, the woman who channels Abraham as well. And for her, what it allows is it allows a perspective on a subject that's challenging from a higher place, from the level of the soul. And so it allows for a very quick and easy transition of, oh, this thing was blah, 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 all these thoughts and beliefs we had about it. But then when the momentum is already there and when I'm already in a really good place, it's really easy to see the perfection and the beauty and the purpose in these things that happened that weren't fun and didn't feel good. But I can start to see the thread and be like, oh, that's why that happened. Oh, got it. Like, oh, and then to start to really accept and really just trust that. And I don't know who said it, but that life happens for you, not to you. I really love that. And so this has been my beautiful journey. And Alex wanted me to just share a cool story of manifestation that we did. So we've been running our company, Unite, for 5-6 years now. And when we first started out on our own, I met my partner Crystal, and we formed this company together, and we were running events. And when we first started, there was no events to run, there was nothing to do, and one of our friends and advisors said, "Oh, you should raise money." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't no idea how to do that or what to do." And then he's like, "Oh, well, you just build this deck, you build this investor presentation, and you ask for a certain amount of money. And I think you should raise $50,000 for 10%. So we said, all right. So we started building this deck and writing out, and it's basically just like a 12, 15 page, slideshow with different things, like the problem, solution, whatever. So we start building, and the deck is so fun, and it's so exciting because we're like, we have nothing to do physically in terms of action that we have to take to run the business or do anything, because there's nothing to do. We haven't started running the events yet. And all we're doing is focusing on building this deck and getting so excited and just creating this vision. And it's all big future vision, all this fun stuff. It just feels so exciting and so fun. And all of our attention is focused in this like joyful, creative, exciting place. And so one day we're literally working on the deck, having a great time, feeling so good. And we get a call, and it's from one of these, one of the vendors who was at a previous event of ours. And we had sort of paused the events, but we had been doing them for a year prior. And he calls us up and he says, "Hey, are you guys looking for any money?" And we were like, "Oh, yeah, we are." And he says, "Well, I've got this." And this, by the way, this story has a terrible part to it too, in a funny way. So he's like, "By the way, I work with this company called Coin Payments, and they're a crypto payments company." This was in 2016, 2017. Bitcoin was at $1,000. And so he's like, "Well, they're looking for a sponsor, and they want to be kind of like the main sponsor of an events company." And I told him about you. And within a week, we had a check for $50,000, which to them was like change because they were just crushing it, and now must be doing even crazier. And the funny part was they said, "Oh, you should put some of this into Bitcoin," and we didn't, and it would have been a good idea. Anyways, so we got this check for $50,000 and we gave him the 10% because that's what we did. So we sort of matched exactly the number and the thing, and literally we hadn't even started reaching out, and our advisor was like, you're gonna have to beat the pavement to 100 meetings to make one check, blah, you gotta go, like, push. And it was just like, oh, we didn't even get there, and the money just showed up. And then we ran the events company. We were able to pay for our lives with entrepreneurship and running events, which was what my big vision was just to be able to like make money doing what we love to do. And we did it for 5 years. And then we, right around the pandemic, right before, we'd had this vision for this technology company. And we're like, oh man, because when we were running the events, it felt like a struggle. The hard part was the marketing, like how do we get people to know about it? And that was like 80-90% of our time. And so we were like, oh, wouldn't it be great if Facebook could just tell everyone who might want to come to our event, and we'd like give them 50% or whatever, like a lot of it, the revenue, because it's so much work to tell everyone. Like, wouldn't that be amazing? Because they've got that information. Why don't they just do that? And then eventually it just sort of became this vision of like, let's just create our own platform that is built more like that, like Airbnb, where we just help people find each other, and it's all around well-being and wellness and product, services, and events and content and upliftment. And so we had this vision, and it started to come into form, and we sort of put the events on pause a bit and started working on the deck again to build this new company, this technology company. And the same thing, we're raising $111,000, $111.11, 11111s, and we're going to do that for whatever. We didn't have a percentage for safe, anyways, details. And so same thing, working on the deck, circumstances align. Someone just comes up to us. They just came into a bunch of money and wrote us a check for that exact amount. So, and without really us getting into that mode of like actually raising money. And then there's a few more things like that. So it was really just a fun story of how Abraham says, like, if you've written a book and you want to sell that book and now you want to promote it and you want to get it out there, the best thing you can do is write another book. Because the energy of the creation and the excitement and the focus is what attracts the success and the connections, and the trying to make it happen and trying to like do it is sort of, there can be an edge in that. And so to stay as much as possible in the fun, in the flow. And again, we still haven't transition to doing that all the time. It's hard because there's, things to do and all these. So we're doing our best to kind of to balance, but we're about to do another big raise. And the fun thing is that now that it's happened enough, I know that it's going to happen for sure. There's just no question. And I also know that it's going to come when we're ready. And I know the feeling of being ready. And I know that it's just not time to reach out just yet. And we're still building this energetic vortex, this feeling of clarity and focus and just alignment. And I know what that feels like. And I know we're just on the edge of it, but we're not quite there. And I know that when we get there, it'll just feel like, oh, you can't stop me. Like I have to go. And until it feels like that, it's like, it's just not time yet. And that's the thing that I'm learning to dance with and play with. So thank you, everyone. Thank you. It's been great to see your guys' reactions. That really helps.
Wow, that took us on a whole roller coaster.
Yeah, that was fun. Thank you.
Yes, so if anyone else has anything to offer, feel free to share. Yes.
I just have to say, Shine, your passion shines through. You have the right name for this.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got so excited with your story. I'm like, where's it going? Where's it going? I love your energy and I love the story. And yes, I've read quite a lot of Esther Hicks stuff. And it is so true, isn't it? It's actually, we attract what we are. Not what we're thinking, or we write down, we attract what we are. And as you are loving life more and more, it's coming to you. And I can feel it's infectious. So thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'd love to chime in and just say thank you for number one. And I could so relate to what you were talking about when we're constantly trying to fix ourselves. I went through a long run because I am a healer. So I was going to heal myself from everything. And I was going to, continue, just keep going till I got to the finish line. Well, no one told me that there is no finish line. I finally figured that out for myself and really come into that place where I'm perfect just the way I am. And I experienced that same shift that you experienced, where I think it's really from a masculine type of energy of like always like, okay, we're going to clean, we're going to fix, especially having, which I'll talk about next, the bigger vision of creating heaven on earth and all the work that we need to do to get there. So I was always constantly running on that energy. And there's the key that you said for me is really accepting exactly where you are in the moment and being in that vortex of vibration, where that manifestation can come in. Love it. Love your message. And I also needed to hear that little piece about the book, because I have a book and I need to put it in print. And so
great.
Thank you for that tip. I'm going to start writing my next book.
Yeah, exactly.
Really fun.
You know,
Thank you so much.
Shine, I loved how you talked about receiving the music in the beginning. And then, you know, it's funny because I was like, I loved your story. I was like, I was traveling with you. And then, you know, I felt like though, it was so interesting because I actually use that word a lot, receiving music, but not in a literal sense. And then I feel like your receiving mode changed and it was still music, but from a different place. And your passion is shining, man. So I feel like you're just receiving another type of music, like life's music running through. Yeah, man. I mean, I enjoyed that. Thank you. That's cool.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm excited for your talk about body integration because I feel like it's
dude,
so
there's so many, everyone's it's beautiful. I'm inspired by all of you. So it's all going to integrate.